confrontation. A combative Barack Obama on Tuesday hit back at Mitt Romney, retrieving lost ground in the second of the three high-stake presidential debates. Obama, who drew flack from his own party for a lackluster performance in round one in Denver 2 weeks ago, this time often dictated the terms of the debate, questioning Romney's approaches towards China, immigration, taxes, unemployment, gun laws and other domestic and foreign policy issues. In this edition of Public Forum, we are asking, after the 2 rounds of presidential debate, is it advantage Romney or advantage Obama? Very esteemed guest with me is the former Secretary of Ministry of External Affairs, Vivek Karju. Thanks very much, Mr. Karju, for joining us in this program. Also with me is Professor Anuradha Chinoy from School of International Studies, JNU. Thanks very much, Professor Chinoy, for joining us in this program. Also with me is well-known analyst and strategic affairs consultant Harinder Sekhon. Thank you very much, Mr. Sekhon, for joining us in this program. And well-known senior journalist H.K. Dua. Thank you very much, Mr. Dua, for joining us in this program. And getting straight into the discussion now, my first question to you, Mr. Karju, how are you viewing these elections, and also post second debate? Are things very good for Obama? Because after the first debate was said that Romney is scoring a better point than Obama.
I think it's always a bit of a hazard to predict an election result, but after the second debate, it seems to me that President Obama has the edge. And the third debate would be largely focused on foreign policy issues, and we all know that this election will turn on American domestic issues, as almost all the elections
This happens in
turn.
all the elections.
It's all the elections turn. And there, while the race is close, and while President Obama may lose ground as compared to 2008 elections, but this time around I think he has the edge and will be able to come home.
But do you feel that the magical presentation is missing this time? The whole talk of bringing change, hope, somewhere that magic is missing this time.
Well, President Obama's great skills lie in communication, but this time around, along with communication, he also has a track record.
At this stage, how are you viewing the US presidential elections? And also, you're seeing the second debate where Mr. Obama was very aggressive, and also when earlier opinion polls were rating Mitt Romney after the first debate that his performance was remarkable, he was brilliant, whereas Mr. Obama was much subdued. Do you think there is, in fact, what you call a clear lead of Obama, if you compare it with Mitt Romney?
Firstly, about the debates, they generally reconfirm what the opinions people already have. Yes, in the first debate, Obama was lackluster. He was not aggressive enough. He did not respond to all issues. But in the second, he's taken up the issues which he's talking about for a large number.
It will in fact play a very strong role in deciding who is going to win. Your take, Ms. Sekhon, you've been following all these presidential debates and also past presidential elections. What is it that is different in this particular presidential election?
It's basically, I think, there's nothing much. It's the domestic issues as in the past, and it's the same domestic issues which are actually going to be very crucial in these elections. When it comes to foreign policy, it is the same issues which were important in 2008 and 2004. It's Afghanistan, Iraq, and these are the ones. And of course, this time what you have is the Middle East playing a greater role, and I think that has been also the focus of Romney. Russia, China is always very important. So there's nothing new on the issues as such. And what you mentioned earlier, the debates have been a little, like the run-up to the elections has been a little lackluster this year, because I think last time it was Obama, it was the audacity of hope and we can change and we will, and that has not happened.
And now it is let's look forward, give me another 4 years.
Give me another 4 years. So I think this is where the swing states are going to be very crucial. Romney has made a few...
You see, there are two things. I'll separate the debate question, who has won the debate and who is having an edge, from the proper race, electoral race.
And how vital are these debates?
I don't think they're that vital as the television theater makes it to be. People ultimately decide the candidate on the leadership qualities, what kind of leadership Obama has provided, what kind of leadership Romney is going to provide in the next 4 years. On that question, they will decide and whether I'll get a job in 2014 when he's going to come out of the college. You think he's going to vote for him? 8% these voters, and they are going to the polling booth, this unemployed 8%, I think Obama should not hope to get their vote. Not on the necessity of hope they want job.
Experience on his side because it's been there
exactly.
for the last 4 years.
So, but that doesn't actually, ultimately they laugh it away. They have a sense of America.
Is he a stronger candidate?
Mitt Romney's don't underestimate. Obama has a slight edge, as Vivek do better, to reassure the economy will be safe in hands in the economy. Petrol prices, although Americans don't pay as much high price as we do here, but slight increase, that kind of thing, the slight increase.
Don't underestimate Mitt Romney, and the big challenge is of the economy and how the voters will be voting in days to come. November 6th is the voting day, and it's now time for us to take a short break. Next, when we come back, we'll discuss more on this issue. Stay tuned. Of Public Forum, we are discussing the US presidential elections. Of the Democrats at this stage should be coming back to you, Mr. Karju. One challenge is of that how Obama should plan his next move, especially now focusing on the third debate, which will, the center point is the foreign policy. But U.S. Voters generally decide on the domestic policies, and the two main challenges is of unemployment and economy. But there's also a challenge is of the Democrats might be hoping that how they get their voters out to vote. That is one thing which might be worrying them, because there's not much enthusiasm even among the voters at this stage.
I don't think that is much of an issue. It's not, that's my impression. We've got experts here, but I don't think coming out is an issue, because they have their processes, they have systems of...
Saying that we must have debates.
No, we must have debates, but as Mr. Dua rightly said, debates is one portion. This time around, I think the first debate got very profiled, because everyone said that Romney came out trumps. And my own suspicion is that President Obama was not in a campaign mode. Perhaps he was trying to be presidential. And his greatest asset was that he's a wonderful campaigner. And this, in the second debate, he reverted back in a manner of speaking to Obama, the 2008 campaigner, where his communication skills came out to the fore. And he took on Romney and really gave him a battering. In the third debate, you are right. I think the only issue, the Middle East will not be an issue. The only issue is terror. And there, Obama, after getting Osama, has the biggest card possible, which, of course, Romney tried to put this terror thing because of the...
Connecting with Libya.
With the Libya matter, but he failed. He failed, and if he tries again he'll get a bashing on that. So I think on foreign policy, of course, there are large matters still. There is the whole Iran question. That question will come to the fore. And I expect that Romney would say that Iran is getting much too dangerous, and that Obama has been much too delicate with Iran, economy, etc.
Professor Chinoy, what do you think? Romney doesn't have that charisma, to unseat a president, as Mr. Karju just mentioned, and also, if you compare him with the personality and also, the way Obama has campaigned so far.
Well, look, it's not just charisma. I think it's the impact the president has had on people who are going to cast their vote. And second, the issue of foreign policy, in which I think some issues of foreign policy are also domestic issues. China, for example, the outsourcing of jobs. The fact that the Chinese, according to American press, have manipulated the American currency by keeping their currency low, which is not a fact. Since 2005, actually, the Chinese yuan has gone up by 30%. But Mitt Romney is making it a point to say that Obama has been soft on China. He has allowed this outsourcing, and in this India also comes in, that all the jobs have gone to China and India, and that is a domestic issue, that aspect of foreign policy. I agree with what Ambassador Karju said, that Osama was a strong thing on the fight of terror, in which Mitt Romney has tried to show that the attack on the American and the killing of the American ambassador was a fault in which Obama did not react fast enough to say that it was a terror attack, but Obama and Hillary Clinton have come back on it by saying that there is a blowback, that she takes full responsibility. It was not Obama's fault, and they have been the toughest on this fight against terror. So many of these issues...
They've also accepted it was CIA's economy, unemployment, but apart from this also healthcare, taxes, rich is getting richer, poor is getting poorer, and also the median income given to these middle class people who are earning. If we read Mr. Obama, he says that, after ending the Afghanistan and Iraq wars, we have made money available to rebuild America and also to focus on, building American roads, bridges, schools, whereas it's being said that most of the money which actually went for these wars, was borrowed money and money which came from different fund agencies. In fact, 40 cents for every dollar it spent was borrowed money. So, if you start using this money to build schools, it will add more to the federal deficit.
I would agree with that, but Obama has taken certain measures, certain steps, and frankly speaking, the first 2 years when a new president gets elected, he's only settling in, and then they get into the re-election mode. And frankly speaking, if you look at US history, it's only in the second term that the president is able to really deliver good on the promises made. I do not say that Obama has been correct on everything. I mean, there are certain things which may not have gone according to plan. He has, but the economy and the job situation, I mean, it might be a very slight blip on the radar, but things are looking up. He has not done anything radically wrong. Even in foreign policy, he's shown a certain amount of maturity in the last 2 years. Initially, he may have been seen as too soft, and he probably was a little idealistic. But I think he's had a very practical, and if you actually sit down and see the foreign policy statements of the two candidates, Romney and Obama, there is very little difference on except on Russia. On China, it's already been articulated by Professor Chenoy, so I will not repeat it.
Iran, because
yeah.
Romney sounds very aggressive.
He sounds aggressive, but is it really doable? Because you have the Russia factor coming in. And do you really want this anti-US coalition
I'll quickly take
in?
Mr. Dua's opinion also, because when when Romney says that he'll increase the defense expenditure, whereas Obama says that he'll focus that money on healthcare and other important social sector schemes, there's a shift in both these candidates.
Whatever the positions Obama or Mitt Romney takes on foreign issues, at the end going to quit, whether it's Romney or whatever it is. They went to Libya for that. They are in Iraq wars were basically meant for oil interest and all that. It is the domestic issue that will decide Obama's fate. There is no anger against Obama, despite disaffection on disappointment on job creation, handling of the economy. Not to the extent there is some improvement, but not as much as they would like to. Housewives' budget has become costlier there. But there is no wave of anger, as it used to be in Carter's time. People were angry against. How did he mess up? 45 people or 48 people were in Iranian prison for years, and thanks to him, he didn't do anything. There is no such a big emotive issue which Romney is able to encash to unseat, as Vivek pointed out. But don't forget that I think the Republicans got about 44% vote last election.
Economy, unemployment, but apart from this also healthcare, taxes, rich is getting richer, poor is getting poorer, and also the median income given to these middle class people who are earning. If we read Mr. Obama, he says that after ending the Afghanistan and Iraq wars, we have made money available to rebuild America and also to focus on building American roads, bridges, schools, whereas it's being said that most of the money which actually went for these wars, was borrowed money and money which came from different fund agencies. In fact, 40 cents for every dollar.
He's only settling in, and then they get into the re-election mode. And frankly speaking, if you look at US history, it's only in the second term that the president is able to really deliver.
Welcome back. You're watching Public Forum. In this edition of Public Forum, we are discussing the US presidential elections. Questions, join us live on our program. Call us on our toll-free number 1-800-115313. Coming back to you, Mr. Kajju. Now, if we talk about US and India, and especially South Asia as a region, China, Afghanistan, Pakistan. Now, US and India both these countries have very different vision. You know, if you talk about these, US take on China, US take on Pakistan, US take on Afghanistan. Do you think that US and India can really have a common strategic vision? And at this stage, when the presidential elections are on, be it Obama or be it Romney, how it is going to help India, and which candidate will be of good help for India?
Look, I think that in either case, there are certain essential elements of US foreign policy as they will apply to South Asia, West Asia and China, which will continue. And we've got to fashion policy on that.
Pakistan, Professor Shenoy, because time and again the funding and the aid which US gives to Pakistan has been very debatable, and also how Pakistan is using this aid. So at this stage, what kind of strategic vision both these candidates will have for South Asia?
Well, look, I agree that India has to engage with the US, and the US has clearly shifted its policy where they want India to be a stronger strategic partner. But nonetheless,
in the world and equality. In short, a new economic world order where there will be no conflicts and terrorism and between nations of the world, and natural resources will be used for the benefit of mankind. The world is eagerly watching the US election and hope it will.
Right, indeed, the world is eagerly watching US elections, but quite a wishful thought that things will happen the way all of us as the caller is assuming. Yeah, Mr. Kajju, you would like to respond?
No, if the
new economic order, if you can comment on that as well.
Well, I think nations conduct policy on the basis of their self-interest. And while the United States has what it sees as global responsibilities, those global responsibilities it refracts through the prism of its self-interest. And therefore, I don't think we should have much hope that the United States would like to structure a new world economic kind of vision, except that they do realize today that their preeminence in the economic field is no longer what it...
To forget South Asia as one region where, we have a strong human resource also. Coming to you,
may I have just one thing on Afghanistan. I think there was a time when the United States wanted to keep us off the high table on Afghanistan. But because of the way we have conducted ourselves in Afghanistan, and also because of the Afghans' interest in us, I think today they realize they can't exclude India out of any arrangement in Afghanistan. That's the only short
another caller with me from Gujarat. Yes, sir, please ask your question.
अगर सत्ता परिवर्तन होता है अमेरिका में तो उससे दुनिया पर और भारत के लिए क्या खास असर पड़ेगा? Thanks to लोकसभा.
Okay, Mr. Kho, you would like to respond?
भारत के लिए कोई इतना खास परिवर्तन, उनकी जो आर्थिक स्थिति है, क्योंकि भारत का अमेरिका के साथ, मतलब चाइना जो है वो इट्स अ बिगर प्लेयर, चाइना के साथ उनका ज़्यादा आर्थिक व्यवस्था चल रही है. सो भारत के साथ ये जो हमारे जो डोमेस्टिक पॉलिसी है, वो हमें अपना क्या पॉलिसी रखना चाहिए यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स के साथ, वो ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है. कितना FDI अलाउ करना चाहिए. जो US की जो डोमेस्टिक पॉलिसीज हैं उनका हमारे
money which came from different fund agencies. In fact, 40 cents for every dollar it spent was borrowed money. So, if you start using aggressive.
He sounds aggressive, but is it really doable? Because you have the Russia factor coming in. And do you really want this anti-US coalition coming in?
You, Mr. Kajju, last 6 minutes on the show. I'll take final comments and I'll start with you. Can we have similar debates in India as well?
No, I think ours is a different system. Besides, in America, as you know, the president doesn't debate his political opponent.
But the question here is, who is the high command, who will debate, who is heading the party, and if the person who is heading the party is the prime ministerial candidate. So there are a lot of issues in India and multi-party politics as well.
Look, the systems are completely different. They have, mainly a two-party system.
Do you really feel that we can have similar debates in India, and if we can have civilized debates as well?
I don't think it's feasible in a country like India, where we have a multi-party system. You'll have any number of prime ministerial aspirants, prime minister aspirants to the post of prime minister. In the United States, it's a two-party system. two candidates, and when they come to the debating stage, they've actually been through a number of electoral college debates and preliminaries and things. So it is a whole completely different system. How do you select an audience in India? Whom do you select to be in the audience? Whom do you leave out?
So the whole idea of candidate defending himself, you know, speaking to people.
I think at a local level they're already doing that when they're going to their constituency, because ours is a direct electoral system.
Here the system is also defective, frankly speaking. While TV channels are being rated by TRP, here the two candidates for American presidency, they are looking for their TRP.
The way, you know, these people talk, they speak, and the way they conduct themselves in these debates.
American is not deciding only on the debates. They are deciding on the performance or possible performance.
Now, I have to ask all of you this question that, you know, how positive you are for Obama or for Romney, and, you know, your best bet, whether it will be Obama, next term in the White House, or Romney's.
It's a close call, but if I was a betting man, I'd put my money on Obama.
Okay, your comments.
I agree. Also, it is very close to call, and but Obama seems to have a slight edge, precisely because he's got communities with him,
and also women supporters.
Color, Hispanics, blacks, so those are big chunks now.
Okay, Obama has an edge, Ms. Sekon?
I think in America the incumbency factor is a very strong point which goes in his favor. And as I mentioned earlier, he's not done anything radically wrong to lose this elections, though it's a close call.
Okay, your comments, Mr. Dua.
I can comment, I can't vote in the elections, but he has a slight edge. But it is slight. He cannot be complacent between now and November 6th.
Right, and don't do the mistake of underestimating Romney also. Thank you so much for joining us in this program. Pleasure having all of you. And we wish both these candidates good luck for November 6th. And that's all we have for you in this edition of Public Forum. Thanks much for watching.